Hello, everybody, and welcome to episode number 58, which we're doing the law of modeling today, Cheryl.
Oh my gosh. This might be my favorite one, Paul.
It's funny how these things
modeling.
line up, because I know we just had a big discussion on you just did a great video on mentoring and being a mentor to younger people, and that's really your passion. So this really could be called the law of mentoring. It's just a fantastic topic, and I'm super excited to talk to you about this today. So talk to us a little bit about, Cheryl, about the law of modeling.
Well, wait a minute. Wait a minute, Paul.
Okay.
Wait just a minute. Because I did want to bring up that when I was younger, I wanted to be a model so bad. Like a real model. Like
a fashion model, like runway kind of model.
Yay! Yes, like a fashion model or a runway model.
Like Victoria's Secret or what kind?
Well, hey, whatever. It was whoever would take me. Farm girl can't be picky and choosy here. Right? But I really
trying to develop an image in my mind here.
Right. Well, and it's so funny because when I saw it, I was like, ooh, this must be the very best law, the law of modeling. And then it was so awesome when I found out like really what it is, right? And like, and that it really is all about mentorship and about being the best that you can be every single day and working on that so that you can turn around and do that for others and be a mentor for others. So I loved it. I really think this is the most awesome.
That's a hilarious story, by the way. Oh, we're going to model? Oh,
yeah.
That's why Cheryl got all dressed up today. She got her model makeup on, and yeah, she's ready to model.
Pick me. I am all for modeling.
And Tony Robbins also has a law of modeling where he says, if you want to be a great chef, just go and find a great chef and figure out how he did it. Ask him questions, which is, just go find someone who already did it. So that's what this boils down to, and what we're going to talk about today. So basically the law of modeling, and again, we're working out of John Maxwell's 15 Laws of Growth book here. So modeling is about having gratitude. It's hard to improve when you have no one else but yourself to follow. That is the main tagline for this law here.
Yeah. And I do like that, Paul. And how true is that? Right? I mean, if there's only you only know what you know. You are only, and you're not really following anyone if there's just you. Right. And so I love this whole idea of mentorship. Boy, I was just thinking about this, 24 years old and at Taco Bell, you can tell, that at 24, I'm ending up at Taco Bell in the assistant manager trainee program, that I didn't ever necessarily have a mentor. Okay. Let's just put it like that. I really did not have.
Well, we all need one.
Oh my gosh. I honestly believe it's the most important thing that you can do for yourself.
Yeah, I agree.
Is find a mentor. And I'm excited today to talk about how you can find one and what would be best, right? Because that's super important too. You don't just want to go out and it's just, can you be my mentor to just anybody?
Yeah. I remember Jim Rohn talked a lot about his mentor. Was his name Shope?
Shope.
Mr.
Shope. Yeah.
Yep. And then there was obviously Jim Rohn became the mentor of Tony Robbins.
Right.
And so on and so forth. It just keeps on rolling on. So yeah, I mean, I can go on all day about mentors. And I know, Cheryl, you had Dr. Wallach come into your life right there during the height of your Taco Bell career.
Yes, I did.
And but it was
changed my life.
It was tough. I mean, it was hardcore.
Absolutely.
But it changed you, and
for the better.
Yeah,
for the better, right? I mean, and I love the whole idea of a mentor, because it's somebody that you look up to, that you follow, that leads you and guides you down the path that you yourself is on, right? I mean, it's not like they're taking you off on some different way. Oh, over here, over there. No, you're on the path. It's your journey, but they are there, and hopefully it's somebody who's walked that road before you, right? And that's exactly what Dr. Wallach had done, and how he and then showed me how to do it.
Absolutely. And so, I know you have massive gratitude for Dr. Wallach for what he's done for you, and especially early in your life. So modeling really is about having gratitude for the people who've mentored you, and becoming the kind of leader who someone else would want to follow. I mean, that's what we want to get across here in our message today, is to first find a mentor. But while you're working with your mentor, we really encourage you to have it in your mind that someday you're going to be the mentor, which, Cheryl, I know back when you were working with Dr. Wallach, probably the last thing on your mind was that I'm going to become a mentor someday to young people.
Oh, it never entered my mind because I couldn't even imagine, that I could do something like that.
Right.
I had no idea that if you hang in there and if you stick to it, and if you do those things that your mentor tells you to do, with great excitement and energy, then you will get to a place at some point where you can definitely turn around and mentor others.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And it's really important, Cheryl, that when you're a mentor, you're looking for a mentor, you're looking for someone who talks the talk and walks the walk.
Yes.
We see so much that, when people hear you talk, but not walk what you're saying, you're going to lose all your people. You're not going to be a great mentor, and that's not the person you want to follow. And we've seen that a lot.
Well, let me say before you tell this a little, and I love the analogy you're going to make, Paul, but the thing is it's not, it's never about you telling someone something. It's about you doing and being on this journey yourself, and someone following you on that journey and you helping them along the way or supporting them along the way. That's really what it's about. It's not, listen, now you do this and you do that. And, and I'll go do this, something different. It's not like that, which I love, because I've never thought that was a good way to lead, right? Telling.
Absolutely. And you see that a lot in politics, where people kind of, or, in other people too, that they go out and they have this message, and then you see them on the news doing exactly what they just told all of us not to do, in their last book or their last press conference. We see all those governors who were telling everyone during the pandemic that you got to wear a mask. You can't go out to eat, you can't do this. And then, of course, there's videos coming out of them not wearing a mask themselves and eating in all these different restaurants with all their friends, not social distancing whatsoever. Anything they just said in that 2-hour press conference they just did went right out the window for themselves, because that's not for me. It's only for you.
Yeah. I love the whole idea of let's all have a choice. How about that?
Yeah. Well, that's a grand idea there, Cheryl.
Something new, Paul.
Well, let's talk about the 4 keys to choosing a great mentor. So we're really encouraging all of you listening to this podcast to really think about, hey, I need a mentor. I need someone that I can really latch on to. But let me tell you, it is critically important to pick the right person. Because if you don't, you're in for a world of hurting.
Right.
So Cheryl, let's talk, what's number 1 for choosing a great mentor?
So you really need to make sure that you have a worthy example. So when I say that, I'm talking about someone who has walked the path that you want to walk, right? So they've been through the things that you are going to go through as you walk along your path. And also, Paul, it is important to choose someone who has it all together.
As their ducks in a row. Yeah.
I love that. I love that, because what you don't want to do is choose somebody who's got more problems than you. I don't even know if I should say that.
No,
I mean,
you don't want to have a mentor that's a hot mess.
Listen, if you want a hot mess, you can. But if you're not looking for a hot mess, then don't have a mentor that is a hot mess.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, so I do think that's important. But it makes me laugh.
That's our tip number 1. We're going to give that away for free. Number 2.
Oh, it's important to have a mentor that has proven experience. Right?
That's a good
idea. Whatever path you're on, or you choose to be on, and you want a mentor, again, that is productive, that you can receive counsel from and feel good about it, and it gets you a little further along. You certainly don't want somebody who has no idea what they're talking about.
Yeah.
So I think that's super important.
Someone who's been unproductive. Yeah. It's just crazy to get advice. And people all the time, they ask their parents or their uncle or whoever in their family for, some kind of advice, or you don't even ask for it. They just offer it because they know everything in the world. And, maybe you were going to start a business or do this or do that or that. And they just be like, oh, that's not going to work, and you buy into that. You don't do it because they're like, well, Joe said I shouldn't do that. And Joe's a loser. He's not productive at all. He's not done anything in his life. So you want to look for people who have already done it, have been successful. And that's what we're going to talk about next. But Shaw, I love the part in this chapter where John talks about finding someone who's successful that's older than you. And, so I know young people come to you all the time, Cheryl. I'm like, okay, so if I'm 25 in my early 20s, and what is the next 25 years going to look for me? If I go into business, or if I, and you can.
Yeah, give me some tips.
Because you already walked the walk,
Yeah,
you know what the
right.
next 25 years of their life is going to be like.
That's right. And I know how to best help them and hopefully shorten the curve, because that's really what it's all about, right?
Big
I
time.
mean, I would love to meet some high energetic people who would love to do that, right? I mean, that's really what it's about.
Yeah. And let me tell you what's really interesting about that, Cheryl, is that if there is 2 lists that you could give someone, who's in their early 20s, a list of things that they should do over the next 25 years, and a list of things they should not do over the next 25 years, what list would be bigger for you?
Things they should not do.
That's where the mentorship really comes into play, is here's what not to do.
Well, really, that's absolutely true. And you know what else, though? I think that there's very few things that you need to do to be very successful, meaning never give up, be consistent and persistent, and, let's get your energy up a bit.
And
right?
avoid the landmines is really what it is.
Right? Yeah. And being able to hang in there when it's tough. That's really what it's about. I mean, honestly, and it's so funny that I say this, because as I look back, I'm like, yikes, a lot of stuff was super hard and everything. But when you break it down, it's not really that hard to be successful, but it's like, you just have to do it, right? You just have to do it, and you have to never give up, and you have to be willing. We always say willing to do what it takes. And that is so true. And then never give up and keep going, right? Keep going.
Yeah.
So
yeah, I mean, our new favorite word we were talking about last night is persistence. I mean, it's just the best word out there. I mean,
it is.
That'll get you. I forgot how that quote ended. Something like pressing on is the way that everything in the world got created. I mean,
it gets fixed.
Gets fixed. Yeah.
And what I love is neg you. That's like my favorite thing. Never, ever give up.
Yeah.
Right.
So great.
If I was going to get a tattoo, Paul, which I'm not getting a tattoo, but if I was going to get a tattoo, I would definitely get Negu, Negu tattooed in big letters.
Well, like maybe that should be your license plate, Cheryl.
Oh, that would be awesome. But let me tell you something. Dr. Wallach told me that maybe I should get follow-up tattooed on my forehead. Lest I forget.
See, right? That's what a good mentor will do. They'll give you special tattoos that when you look in the mirror, you're reminded of the things you need to be doing today.
That's exactly right. Oh my gosh, that is so funny.
The third key is to find someone who's successful. And I know this should go without saying, but again, it's just people take advice from the wrong people.
Oh, you know it. You know it. And I'll never forget. Oh my gosh, Paul, I am guilty of this. So when I was much younger, not much younger, but younger, I'll never forget. I was like in a mastermind, or I was in a group. I don't even remember all of the ins and outs, but I just remember that I would go to this group, and there was all sorts of speakers, and they were speaking and talking, and I was like, oh my gosh, wow, what should I do? How should I do it? And I was getting all confused about what I was supposed to be doing, what they were doing, how I was fitting in. I mean, like, I was totally confused. And all of a sudden, one day it dawned on me, I think I make more than all of them. Maybe I make more than all of them put together. So maybe I should stop trying to change everything that I'm doing to make them all happy and do what what they want me to do. So yeah, so that was amazing, Paul. I'll never forget that. And from that point on, I'm like, no.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Don't take financial advice from someone who's, isn't extremely wealthy. You want to find,
Yeah.
or someone who isn't broke, or someone who is broke, I should say.
Right.
Just like you shouldn't take marriage advice from someone who's been divorced 3 times. I mean, I love those people the most, I think, just like, hey, you should do this in your marriage. I'm like, really? And how many times have you divorced already?
Yeah.
Oh, 3, and they're still single. Yeah.
Yeah, unless you're going on spouse 5. Now then you can't then you can have a mentor who's only on spouse 3. Okay. But no, I'm kidding. But yeah, that's super important.
Yeah. So someone who's successful. And last but not least, Cheryl, it's this concept of finding someone who has teachability. And what we mean by that is someone who really has the teaching spirit, which I know you really have, Cheryl. And I know it's something I really pride myself in as well, to come from a great place where someone comes in my life, I really want to genuinely teach them and raise them and mentor them and really take them under my wing and, and be a great example for them. Yeah,
absolutely. I love that. I love that whole idea of teaching. And, my whole thing is supporting and helping people along the same journey that I've been on. That is like, that could be, I guess, my tagline. That's probably not a tagline, but that's what I really, but you know why? Because I feel like I'm contributing. I feel like I'm there and I'm willing to, help the next generation, help the next group of people who want to walk the same walk I did.
Right. Right. So it's kind of like a vibe, when you're looking for the right mentor, you're like, do I vibrate with this person? Is there chemistry there, and
right.
Some people love finding people who are hard, just like hardcore. This is how we're going to do it, and like military, Marine type. And then there's softer people who are more coddling, considerate, like all those things that I'm not. There's other people that have those things. So,
right.
So it's finding the person that's right for you, that has the spirit or the approach that you're looking for. Right.
And I absolutely agree with you, but I think what a mentor has is an actual plan to follow too. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah. I think that the mentor has a plan. It's a plan that they use to be successful themselves. And so I think that there's a lot of information there for someone who is choosing a mentor. You want to choose one that has all of that already set into place. They already have an example. They are an example of success. And I think that's kind of what we're talking about here, Paul, and that they are willing to teach or mentor you. Right. Because that's very important. I mean, some people just don't want to do that. Right. And so it's important to find that person who does have the teaching spirit. And the next one, Paul, that I really love is they continue to learn. So that personal growth. Yeah. You don't want to find a mentor who just like knows it all and isn't trying to grow themselves, Right. Yeah. I agree with that 100%. This next one I really love, Cheryl, because this is something that we really understand and do. We're not afraid to be open and honest about failures we've had in our life. I mean, because we have them daily. Well, I've only had one, but you go ahead and talk about yourself. No, you're so right. You know why though? And something that I've really heard so much about lately and really is kind of sinking more and more into my brain is unless you fail, you cannot learn. Yeah. So unless something's hard, unless you're failing, you are not really learning. There's no other way to learn, which by the way, Paul, I think that sucks. But needless to say, that's the real truth, right? I mean, how do you really feel about that, Cheryl? Yeah, well, I can tell you how I feel about everything. I've got an opinion. Yeah. So it's just, some of those people out there, there's people, especially on social media, we see them from 10 miles away that they portray this I'm a perfect person thing, which is ridiculous, and Cheryl's 1,000% right. When it's our failures that Cheryl and I have gone through, like, let me tell you all these bad things that I've been through. And that's how we grow. That's how we got to where we are today, is from all those failures. And I always thought that failure was like a left turn and success was like a right turn, but
then I learned it throughout life that it's the same direction. You have to go through failure and then eventually you get to success at the other side. But
And I love
everyone's
it
got to
though,
go
too,
through
that,
the failure first.
well, right, but I love it too, because you can have small successes along the way. It's not fail, 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 nothing, 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 nothing for years and years and years and years. No, I believe it is. You know, you work hard, have a little success, then perhaps a failure or two, learn a little bit more and grow. And then we have another success, learn, you know, and then we, oh no, we have another failure or two. And so I think it's just a natural progression as we go down this, or as we're on this journey, to have failures and successes all along the way,
Yeah.
which I love, which I love.
Yeah. And in most cases that's true, but you haven't seen me swing a golf club yet.
Oh, I can only imagine.
Yeah.
Only
it's
because,
not good.
oh yeah, well, I used to do it. So, and I, you know, I gave that right on up. Although I was pretty good at it. It's not hard for me to, I think it's harder for me to swing a tennis racket correctly than a golf club. I'm
Really?
pretty good at swinging a golf club. I'm actually quite good at golf. Not like your wife, but I am good. I'm okay.
Yeah. There's you know, a definite right and way. And I have a great mentor with that. So that was really my
Right.
learning lesson right now is I found the best golf pro, a guy that really I resonate with and has patience and like, listen, Paul, this is going to be a project. You know, it's not going to go, but I'm going to teach you how to do it the right way, the first way. Because so many people that go, and this is just golf as an example, but they do this in life too. They go and they pick up some clubs and they go to go golfing and they they're hitting the ball. And they're not ever really doing that. They're not shooting par or anything like that. You know,
Right.
they're even if they're shooting in the 90s, you know, and with most cases they're not. And then they decide, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years later, you know what, I'm sick of not playing good. I'm going to go find a mentor now, a coach, to teach me golf. And you have so many bad habits by that time that it's almost impossible to fix all those bad things.
I agree, Paul. And let me tell you, and I know this very well because I played tennis for probably about a year and a half before I got a coach. And I still revert back to, yes, what worked, but not really. And
Plus,
if I
in the
ever
beginning,
want to go to the
didn't
next,
you have didn't you have a 1 or 2 bad coaches too that really didn't teach you what
yeah.
your current what Rob's teaching you now?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And it's so interesting because you've got to be careful about that. It's so important to make sure that you choose the right coach from the start, or the right mentor from the start. Because if not, then you will spend the rest of your life trying to fix and take care of all the bad habits that you've got, which I'm telling you is hard to do.
Oh, it's super difficult. So it's you know, looking in hindsight's 2020.
Yeah.
So looking back, boy, if you could have taken the time to find Rob in the beginning,
Well, if I would have even known, I didn't think I needed a
you'd
coach.
be in Wimbledon this year.
No, I'm like, I'm good. I'm good. I don't need a coach. But
Yeah.
I'm athletic. I
Right.
played soccer. I'm
Yeah,
not sure
like the
why I
tennis
thought that
racket
would
guy.
help
You
me.
just got to
in
swing it. Yeah.
tennis. I don't know why I thought that would help me in tennis. Like, hello, Cheryl. Come on. Yeah.
We're not kicking the tennis ball.
Hello. That's like saying I want to start a business and I worked at Taco Bell. Two different things. Two different things. You know, I mean, you really have to be clear, I guess, on the path that you want, and also making sure that you're finding that mentor that best fits the things that you want to do.
Yeah. And just to close up this topic, Cheryl, where you want to find a mentor and ask them, tell them your story. You know, what's your story? So I think that's a great thing to ask if you're looking for a mentor, you know, and what they should tell you is, I went through all these challenges. And then I made these changes in my life. You know, Jim Rohn talks about finding Shoaff, and, you know, Tony talks about finding Jim, and, you know, and you talk about finding Rob, you know, so it's all that I made this change and now I'm having all these celebrations.
Right.
So they can see the path that they're going to walk along in the upcoming months or years or whatever, however long you work with that mentor.
Yeah, absolutely. And I do think it's important too, Paul, that if you want someone to mentor you, you need to ask them, right? You can't just be like, oh, well, so-and-so's my mentor, and they don't even know that they're your mentor,
Yeah.
right? unless it's somebody huge, like Tony Robbins is everyone's mentor, right? That's totally fine. But I'm talking about, you know, in your own, and I believe, Paul, really that if someone is mentoring someone else, then you really do become very close and very good friends. And really, you always say you move in with that person,
Yeah.
right?
Yep.
For as a mentoring or as a coach. So I think that that's super important too, that everybody's clear on the mentorship and how you are going to do it.
Absolutely. And really, to be honest with all of you out there, this is what Cheryl and I, this is our whole thing. We want to be mentors. You know, we are mentors, and this is what we love most. And we look at this podcast as being mentorship. You know, you're coming here to hear from two people that combined have, you know, over 50 years of experience in business and health and all these other topics. We've been through it all. We've had massive failures. We've learned from those things. We've made adjustments, and now become extremely successful in all those different areas. So we want to be your mentor. You know, and whether it's just through this podcast, or if you want to contact us directly, you could do that. If you want to work intimately with Cheryl or myself, we'll put our contact information in notes. And Cheryl, one of the things that I really want to encourage people to do is that when you have a great mentor, like if you like this podcast, you should send your mentor a card in the mail. Don't send them an email. Send them a card in the mail. And if it's me, I like flowers or gifts, or, you know, no, just joking. But a really nice, yeah. And I know we message each other back and forth all the time, Cheryl, daily on a text message you got from someone, or a text message I got, or an email or whatever, talking about the podcast or whatever we did for that person, and how it changed their life. So those mean a lot to us, and they're going to mean a lot to whoever you choose as a mentor or have as a mentor right now. So I can encourage you to really respect that person and thank them for what they're doing for you. Cheryl, if you just end up this podcast talking about, again, not only finding a mentor and walking that path with them, but actually looking into the future and saying, I'm going to be a mentor someday. I want to be get to that level where I'm so successful that I'm able to turn around and help other people get to the top of the mountain as well.
Yeah. And there's a couple of questions that you want to ask yourself as you are being mentored, that will prepare you to mentor. So the first question is, what are your strengths? That's something that's very, very important. You need to know what they are so that you know what you have to offer other people. Number two is, what type of person are you looking to inspire? Right? So what type of person do you want to inspire? And then number three, what do you need to do to engage that person?
Yeah. Super great questions. So all those questions are in the notes. All the notes are here. Just click on the notes below this podcast and you can read them. But Cheryl, that was a great podcast today. I hope people got a lot of value out of that. And I'm just super excited about this book. If you don't know the book yet, The 15 Laws of Growth. We've grown so much just from reading this book and going through it. Just been incredible.
I loved it, Paul. And it's not the catwalk, but it is close. It is close. So absolutely. I really enjoyed it.
Awesome. Okay. Talk to you all soon. Have a great day.
Bye.